Okay, let's go.
My name's Josie Green, and I've been involved with a charitable family foundation that my great-grandmother started back in the 1950s to help support organizations from in Western Mass, where my family originated from. About 10 years ago, my mother turned the foundation over to me and my 5 brothers and sisters, and we have a particular interest in working with underserved communities and helping them get more resources, and for a long time we continued to do grant making the way my great-grandmother had, which was to fairly disengaged, depending on development officers and other people in these larger charitable organizations, to tell us where we could direct our grants to help underserved communities. And as I got more involved, I wanted to become more engaged. I felt like I, was disconnected. I felt like there was a lot of questions that were not being answered in these forums that are traditionally designated for funders or the donor community. I met Val Batts, and I was talking to her a little bit about our funding and why certain societal ills, youth violence, why they were so prevalent in the community, in certain communities in Boston, and I became very interested in getting a different perspective. The way our family makes grants was really changed as a result of my attending one of the Visions 4-day trainings. Coming from a kind of old WASPy family, we were not educated, or we did not understand or learn some of the systemic issues that underlie a lot of the problems facing underserved communities. And the 4-day training really, I think, freed me up. It gave me new skills and a language, kind of released me from a lot of, I feel, guilt and shame that had really kind of paralyzed me from wanting to become more engaged, to meet the people that we were trying to serve. And now, as a result of our partnership with Visions, I feel like as a family, our grant making, it's more of an investment. It's more investing in people and engaging with relationships, as opposed to being kind of this donor sort of checkbook grant making from afar. So it's been wonderful. One of the things that I was struck by several years ago, I was, occasionally our family attends these national philanthropy foundation conferences, and I had the opportunity to go to a couple of the workshops on diversity. And having come right out of one of the 4-day trainings at Visions, I was really struck at how little depth. I guess I was wanting more depth and in the conversation about difference, and how do we as funders really engage and look at the root causes, and how do we collaborate with the communities we're trying to serve. And I was frustrated with what was the offerings at some of these conferences, and I proposed a conference that Visions, Val Batts and her husband John, and myself and another donor involved with the family foundation, we actually presented a session at one of these national conferences on the impact of class and culture on philanthropy. And it was just great. It was well received. I got the impression it was not your run-of-the-mill philanthropy session, which was great, and I think people really appreciated that. So anyways, I guess what I would say is that, for myself anyways, it was, I needed, in order to become a more engaged funder, in order to understand some of the structural issues that are very hard to see, to make an impact, to feel like I was more informed, to get a different perspective than what I was getting in the traditional funding settings. I needed to learn a new language, and I needed to learn to sit with discomfort. And Visions, my partnership with Visions has been instrumental in us changing the way we make grants now, and 100% more fulfilling, and we feel like we're making more of an impact, and it's been great. Is that okay? Really?
Oh yeah.
Serious?
So interesting. Listen to you. It's great.
All right, so it's still running.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's fun.
Okay. So.
That was it. So do you want to do
Supervision?
Yeah, supervision. Like the question would be, because the thing about it, people who've done a 4-day would be wondering what else can I do,
Yep.
and you might say after the 4-day I wanted to have more da da da.
Yep. Okay. After participating in the Visions 4-day training, which was really sort of life-changing for me personally, I wondered what the next step was for me. At that time, I was more engaged. I was actually volunteering with a nonprofit in the Boston area, serving survivors, an organization, a grassroots organization run by a woman of color, and I was really very much thrust into many settings in which I, were not familiar for me, that I felt like I had a lot of questions about, how I should be effective in the work, how was I being perceived, what were the expectations, the assumptions that I was bringing into the settings, and the 4-day training, while it was, it was an amazing kind of experience that sort of allowed me to be free to step into these multicultural settings, I felt like I needed more support. I felt like I needed more kind of a peer group of other people like myself who was doing this work in urban settings. And when the peer supervision group was recommended, I have to say I was a little nervous, but I knew I know I needed something, and it's been amazing. I've been participating in the Visions peer supervision group with other for about 2 years with other professionals and volunteers, people who are involved in nonprofit settings and in faith communities and in foundations and in philanthropic circles. And what everybody has in common is wanting to try to be more effective in their engaging and in their work in multicultural settings. And it's just been amazing. I don't think I ever imagined the depth of relationship that I could achieve in a multicultural group. I feel there's a camaraderie, there's a closeness, there's sort of a bond that we all feel to be able to speak about really difficult issues in a confidential setting, to try out the skills, to take risks with people you feel safe with. It's just been really kind of a gift for me as I do this work, and I'm very grateful for the supervision group.
What a natural. Look, I've done about a dozen of these, so believe me when I say you're natural. This is so easy.
All right, so we can always do a retake, but not today.
No, those are great.
So coaching.
Do you feel that have you had?
Yeah, there's been a number of.
Yep.
There's been a number of times.
So the way people, they come to the website and think, I need something individually, not institutionally.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in a group. I want to be with me. So it would be interesting to maybe and try not to over mention Val, because a lot of people do that in the videos. And it's
yeah,
like
see, and this is what's happening. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So
okay.
You can just say I've received coaching at Visions, and
this has been an issue that I've discussed that I have to talk with Val about anyways, because I find that I'm always going on and on about visions, and the truth is, and then people are like, oh, we got a call, and the reality is people could get as much from talking to you or Rick, and I think
we're learning to distinguish. Like, I have Val in my head for certain things, and with some of your level contacts, she's totally the right person.
Right, but I need to figure out under what circumstances, like for example, this woman who runs the Trinity Boston Foundation, Val seemed like the appropriate person, and other, so that's what I need to talk to her about.
Yeah.
All right.
Coaching.
Hi, coaching. I have had, in my role as a member of a family with a charitable foundation, and also as a volunteer in an urban setting, working with a grassroots organization, I have found there have been a number of occasions in which situations have come up where I am kind of more aware than ever of the importance of the work of Visions, and learning how to be effective, and learning the guidelines, and how to work across difference. And these have been situations in which I have felt like I needed some coaching around how should I see this situation, how do I not get defensive, how do I not feel horribly like insecure or afraid of making a mistake. I have needed, what's been great about the Visions coaching program is that it's been an opportunity for me to, in a personal, private, confidential setting, get some very specific advice about how I, as a white person coming from a suburban setting, how do I see a situation that I'm dealing with currently a little bit differently, and how do I look at all the different angles, and what are the steps that I can take that are not reactionary from an old scripts, and how do I engage in a way that is effective. And it's just been a great opportunity to really sort of try out and check out some assumptions or some new ways of doing things, and it's been very helpful. That wasn't as good.